Hello everyone. Okay, let's turn that music down a little bit. There we go. Ah, where is game? Good question. Where is game? There is game. Come on. There we go. There is game. I'm gonna be totally honest, guys. I moved the stream date to today. Hey Marco, welcome in. I will be honest, guys. I moved the stream date to today. And I feel about as motivated today as I felt tomorrow, but I wanted to stream because I said I'm gonna stream every second Friday, and yesterday was the second Friday. um, so here we are. I beg you, please keep me awake. Game and game and game and game. What is game? No idea what is game. Um, please keep me awake. Please keep me motivated. We'll take a look at. Well, it's been a while. A lot of people might have not, you know, actually ever seen this, this server. So I thought, yeah, okay, I'm gonna show you guys a few little things, um, before we actually do what I've planned for today. Yes, those are words. Words make sense, right? So, first and foremost, I tried terraforming here, turning this into a swampland. I think I wanted to turn this whole island into a swampland. I'll have to see how far I can still get with that because somebody started building over there, and I'll have to check in who that was and if it will interfere with me. We did have an agreement about where people can spread on the server, but I guess whatever. Um. Oh yeah, this is the Grandson creative multiplayer server. So um, if you're curious about seeing more of the server, check out my good buddy Grandson on YouTube. I don't know if his series still continues these days. I assume it does. I haven't watched any of the videos myself recently, nor have I talked about it for a while with him. Uh, I think I wanted to make a bridge out of flashy colors here. I mean, it's not a bad bridge in itself. It's just a bit messy. I think next time I'll go back to less flashy colors. This is a village I worked on, with a couple of inspirations I had back then, a couple of color inspirations. Some of the stuff does look quite good. I think this building specifically was inspired by Marco, wasn't it? No, it was this one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Marco. It was this one with purple. Just a couple other buildings inspired by people. I do remember I was quite proud of this bridge, even though I see a couple of flaws on it by now. Um, I'm not quite happy about the support pillars. This hut, I do remember I was pretty happy about with, even though, yes, don't get me wrong, it looks ugly, but I think it melts nicely into the area. Yes, I posted on Blue Sky about it back then. Um, it melts nicely into the area. It's messy. It's not shapely or anything, but I think that makes it so cool because it's just part of the environment in a way. Even though, okay, that flat surface here is an abomination. The elevator, because I had a height difference between this area and the area down there. I'm happy with the elevator. I still am. Obviously, it's not functional. It's just about looks. Like, these are the weights that the elevator is using. This is the platform the elevator is using. It's supposed to be an elevator that can even fit a cart. So yeah, I still think it looks neat. I would love to. I would love it for it to be functional, but I can't be bothered to try that with Redstone. And since this is a vanilla server creative or anything like that, I mean, Minecraft creative, the mod pack, is not an option. Let's not talk about that shit over there. I tried something and it looks like shit. The only good part is pretty much the upper section. Quite a big barn that I never did anything with. This was supposed to be sort of a temple. Uh, it's fine. It's it's fine. Nothing good. Nothing special. It just is. Country house. I do enjoy how that country house came out, considering it was my first country house and building around the corner is not the easiest. Especially, I was starting to try around with terraforming around here, and terraforming the yard of the country house came out quite neat. I think I'm not quite sure if I built this one before or after the country house, but it is these ones over here are just similar style. Although this one I can promise you that is the one I started with. This house. Um, I got the blueprints from Minecraft blueprint page, so that design specifically is not from me. I can't tell you where I got it specifically from. It's been too long. It's been a while. This was one of the village towers. Village towers I made. One of the three. One being here, the other there, and the last one there. I'll get to those towers in a second. A house. I think I just put it here because there was room and I needed to fill that room. For that, considering the style of the village, I think it came out quite okay. I remember this stairwell being a pain in the buttocks simply because it goes around a corner. I didn't want to have hard corners, so I had to make it somewhat okay. It's not round, but at least it's also not a corner. If you walk down from it, like down up, it's not that special. But I remember that if you walk down it, I like it quite much. Like the view, how it opens up, how you have an open view. Then you see the tower, the temple, the stuff over there. That is definitely quite cool. So this also just a house I experimented with. Not that special. I want to even say it came out a bit ugly, but I needed it for something specific because it links up to the first tower over here. The bit roundish head towers. And with these, I experimented a bit. I experimented a bit with commands and just, you know, the options I have in creative Minecraft. And I managed to build small teleporters that you just step on. and it immediately teleports you back and forth. It's a bit disorienting if you don't know what it does, but I obviously do. um, Tiny nether portal, and this is the third temple, the one we walked past. These houses, well, I think because of their size, I managed a bit better to like have the colors compose. Um, I mean the roofs, I don't know. I was proud of the roofs back then, but by now I don't know anymore. But the sides I do like. This one was an experiment for sure, and while it has a nice looking inside, size wise, obviously, I didn't do the insides because I rarely do the insides. You need to be more specific, Marco. What did they add or not add? Uh, this one I definitely liked. It's nice from the outside. It was basically a prototype of the hut I did back then, down. And the inside, I did actually make the inside, which is amazing, and I still very much like it. It's cozy on the outside, it's cozy on the inside. It is it's magic you can do when you understand the code behind Minecraft and command blocks. It has been part of Minecraft ever since we had commands. I'm just doing it via command blocks, so it's entirely a creative thing. I made a well here, nothing special about that well really. This one I didn't build, this one a friend of mine built, just to cooperate with me on the village, and I'm quite happy that he did. And funnily enough, I'm very happy about that city or that town wall. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's nothing special, but it does what it does. It kind of looks nice, and it gives the village on this side sort of a feeling of this is where it starts and ends, you know? It rips it out of the boring, the vanilla surrounding, and gives it its own, how do I put it, frame in a way. Also, I managed to incorporate this hill over here, which I'm happy about. When I was a wee lad, I remember using Netherport as a sort of pseudo fast travel. We still do that, but it's boring. This is creative. I tried many new things and stuff. Oh yes, if you ever wonder how cruel I am, I killed the wandering trader, put his head on the stake, and put his pets next to him. And they're bound here forever. So if you ever wonder if I'm cruel, no, there's your answer. Now, this part I am unreasonably proud of. Because for the longest time I was wondering how I can um, get up there. I didn't want to just, I don't know, completely terraform because I had this idea of this is basically a village within a mountain range. And it took me a while to come up with this idea of basically having a tiny bridge leading up to a checkpoint and then the checkpoint winding a staircase up the wall towards the village. I really like how it came out. There's some, obviously, over here. There's some, well, there was some terraforming involved in it. There was a lot of thinking of how I can brace it, how can I feel it, how can I make it feel like heavy without making it feel too heavy. It's simple, don't get me wrong. It's not perfect, but I enjoy how it came out. Now, this path, as long, windy, and boring as it is, as it only leads um, through vanilla terrain, links up to the actually interesting bits. This was just quite a while ago a tavern I wanted to try, inspired by a house I saw in The Witcher, where basically the tavern is a fixed part of the bridge, and that bridge, I still need to do that, links up to a project I'm doing back there. Do I have an elytra on? No. I even did the interior on this one. Um, Group sleeping room, uh, two people sleeping room. I think two people is usually the minimum I do. Oh yeah, and a coupled sleeping room. And I even incorporated like a before after image of the area. This being the after image. And here we have the it's both after. Why is it both after? Somebody screwed with the server, I can tell. Well, to be fair, well, it's not quite okay. It's before I dried out this area, so actually, maybe it was just me misremembering. There's a difference between them. To the third Witcher. Yep. On the path. Yep. Doing, 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 doing. So, as some people might know, this area generally is, or the builds I'm doing on the server are generally inspired by the roleplay game The Dark Eye, and so is the area we're walking up to, which is supposed to be inspired by the city of Petakis, which I've, as a player, spent quite some time with my characters in, and that I still enjoy using. So, yeah. The flags are also basically inspired by those areas, though I had, you know, Minecraft doesn't allow me the most complex flags, so I had to break it down. Uh, yes, there were those rumors. I think they've already been disproven, but I'm actively not interested in them anymore because, yes, The Witcher 3 was a great game. At some point, a game is allowed to come to an end. Don't keep pushing and upgrading and pushing and upgrading. Focus on your new project, which we are heavily awaiting. Things are allowed to die. That is something we need to talk about in private and not in Twitch chat right now, Marco. Because yes, guys, I had a game session yesterday in which my main character uh, finally got their child, and I'm phrasing it in this way not because like English is hard, but because it is complicated. Uh, I remember I remade this specific bridge like 3 or 4 times because I was so unhappy with it. I had a hard time with it because on one hand side this is the dock area, so I couldn't really build a bridge. Well, it's the wharf basically. I couldn't build the bridge over the entrance to the wharf area because that would limit ships going in and out. At the same time, I could have made it bigger, but that would have made it look ultra weird. So I had this established area, this established channel that I did widen, and had to make a hard corner, then get this bridge over the relatively short area, and then make a hard corner again. And I struggled with that so hard. Well, to make it look good at least. And like On a scale of my abilities, 10 being the best I've ever done and 0 being the absolutely most awful I've ever done, I will give this bridge a proud 6 because I was struggling to get over 5 for the longest time, and getting to 6 is a win in my book. Uh, this house, you might be able to tell, which is like the office building to the wharf. It looks awful. Um, it was one of my earlier buildings. I will leave it standing as a sort of memorial. It's good enough. The wharf itself, same time, it also looks a bit eh, but I prefer it. You know, it's not as bad. Maybe it's the size. Maybe it's because it's just in general a weird building. I feel better about it. Also, I feel pretty happy about the insides. Like there's this crane. There's the base, the spine of the ship. There's this little overview area, loading ramp, stuff like that. You know. So now we are entering actually Petakas. Um, okay, this. I forgot about that. The statue of the fallen heroes. It's a memorial to heroes that have died, or as far as we can tell, have died. In our games. So currently there is MDB, which is a character of my friend. SCACDP is not a player character; it's an NPC. I just needed to fill the pillar a bit. VDTFP is a character of mine that was mostly. How about now? VDTFP is a character that I have mostly used in backstory events. AVFP is a character that I've played for a very long time. Very long time being, well, still very long time for me. Um, and the other ones, like, give me a second. Okay, how about now? Any better? Apologies for the technical scuff. Um, I forgot my point. Fallen heroes, things, stuff. This was supposed to be a dog. It looks shit. I just accept it as that. I'm proud of this bridge. It was one of the earlier builds that I made that I am actually proud of. Don't get me wrong, I realize when you look at it, it's not that impressive, but it was one of my early builds. I think it looks nice. It looks exactly like what I wanted it to look. It portrays the things I wanted it to portray. It is a sort of a drawbridge, although only the inner parts draw up. I managed to make it look like that quite nicely. And I know that some of the other players that have played that haven't quite managed the jumping technique of just jumping from the bumpers to the bumpers quite often manage to fall down here, and it just personally pleases me. This building is supposed to be a trading post, a counter, where just stuff is kept. The interesting part about it is, yes, it doesn't look that nice from the outside, I'm quite aware. I tried, I was young, I failed. It has a hidden temple up here. And I do like how the temple turned out. It's plain, it's simple, it's empty, it's hidden, it's supposed to be hidden. But I like how it turned out. And if you come here for a session, for praying, bring your own chair. So you probably see this here and think, huh, what's that? There was a palace over here, Renaissance style, and I tried to build it on a corner, and I didn't like it. So I made an outline of how I want to build it next time, and I haven't done it in a year. I am unsure if I ever will. But this is bigger now. This is like twice the size it was before. This is bigger now. This is just about the outline I want. It's about the rooms I need. I'll see if I ever actually end up doing it, because I feel like if you want a proper insight, size wise, it gets so damn big on the outside, and that is not something I'm all that fond of. Open air theater. Um, yeah, it's simple. It's plain even, but it looks like what I had in mind, and that makes me pretty happy. Um, this is basically the school of acting that I built in the back here for the longest time. I mean, from the outside, I tried filling it into the mount, well, the hill that I took off here, and that I think I managed quite nicely. Yes, it's a bit plain. Don't get me wrong. I'm aware of that. Probably that's why I've never even done remotely the insides. I've put like a plan down of how I would want the insides to look, but I never actually did it. This is basically a small temple. Um, it's chaotic. It's chaotic. It's a bit weird, but in a way, I kind of like that. It's very small and naturey. Another temple, temple for the goddess of knowledge. I tried getting my co-players to like take books and just fill them with some stuff here. As you can see, it worked twice, and I'm unhappy about that. I wanted them to fill at least half the rack, but oh well. And my wonderful statue of the goddess of knowledge. Please use your fantasy. That's what the note there says. Old timey communication tower with fire, basically an alarm mechanism. You light the fire and it can be seen over miles. This tavern I just built because that gate closes up when it is night, and I didn't want the players to sneak around or stuff like that. So I put down a tavern where they can sleep away the night. Um, just so that they can enter the building the next morning. It's very simple, and it has a little broom closet. I know it's a bit weird, but I had like this little bit of space left, and I was thinking, okay, what could I do with it? And I made it into a broom closet. Do we manage to get into the city by now? Yes. Okay. Hurry! 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 Woohoo! We made it. This is the big project we've been working on for a while. Um, it has a giant wall going all around the city, and it is actually a city. That for the more important parts is even two layered. It has a giant temple in the middle. It has different parts of the city. It's not finished by any means necessary, and I don't think it ever will be. Oh, yeah, now it's closed. But yeah, the wall is even fully walkable. You can walk the inside, or the between of the walls with this way. You can walk the inside of the inner wall with this way, and you can walk the outside of the outer wall with this way. Complex, very complex, very well planned. This was my attempt on a horse cart. Um, it was my first attempt. Be gentle. A temple for the goddess of a good for the goddess of the good fight that I made. It's a bit odd on the outside. I do extremely like the inside, partially probably because that sword was so hard to make. But I think on the inside it is just perfect. The outside, yeah, okay, I could have done a better job there. And I have a little, resting spot for me down here where I keep and save a couple of things. And I have this dragon head. But yeah, just a couple of building materials and a couple of flags that we've made over the time for the gods, for the temples. Apologies. Stuff like that. This leads to the harbor area. Over here, a friend of mine started building like a very thick um, house cluster. He stopped at some point for personal reasons. Maybe he'll return someday. I hope he'll return someday to it, but currently it's just waiting for completion. Here I needed to basically, well, to make it plain, I built this area over here before figuring out the way. Tired, damn it. Or more so without figuring out a path. So I had to then cut into the landscape and figure out a path down. It's basically supposed to be a rather big temple for the god of the seas, with this being the actual temple slash shrine area. With a trident, yes, a trident, why not? And this being more of the management and sleeping area, with an office, a nice pond which formerly housed some dolphins that have all escaped because I left them an escape route because I didn't want restrain the dolphins. A sleeping area for higher ups, and a sleeping area for lower downs. And this path down here leads to the actual harbor. As you can see, yes, the wall stretches even through the water. That is one of the last things I actually did. Finish the wall. It's not fully textured all the way around, but it stands. It is built. This is the shipyard. Basically, and you can very much see that it is very similar to the one in Petakis, just way bigger, like twice the size and much more complex. And also, basically, this is just you don't build inside the building with this shipyard. You actually build within the water. Well, obviously, for people who know some stuff about shipbuilding, you would lay the backbone of the ship in here, and then you would lower it into the water and build the rest around it. So yeah, that's basically how I designed it. This is the taxation area. Basically, two lanes. You come in, you pay your taxes, you go out. We have. How did I do this? So we have the area where you bring the collected money and stuff down here. Just plain simple, nothing special. It can be locked from the inside. Hi, Nova. We don't have an IRS in Germany. So, I think I didn't put an opening mechanism for that door down, but basically it would be basically it would be the entrance for the employees. Hey, Casey. I feel attacked, Casey. The harbor master, with the office area down here, an area to overlook the harbor up here, and a sleeping area for the harbor master. And over here, besides another point to get our onto the harbor wall, basically, because the major wall has a break over here. So this is basically the harbor wall, and it has a separate way to get up. This is basically the river harbor. So you have the sea over there, and then over here it goes into the river, and this is the harbor for smaller ships. I'll let you know I build beautiful ships. Walls. This is the big project that my friend built 99.99% by himself. I was looking, I was maybe saying stuff, but generally he built it by himself. There are enough people out there who've already built that Nova. I won't go into too much detail with the temple because it's not finished on the inside, and it's not my project. I did build this waiting area in front of it though, with a little bit of a shade cover and bench. And for the longest time, I was trying to put like a small campfire in here, and then I realized, Nova, we have a certain uh, behavior here. I know this is your style, and it's fine when we're in private, but this is not a stream. So that's about that. A smaller temple for the god of death and burials. Um, the major temple for the city would be on an island outside, so this is just like a local for people to go to when they pray. So there's a little area where you could basically bear the dead, just pray, sit, mourn, and just a couple of burial stones for more important people than the average. There's also a grave. There's also a there. There's also a burial down here, although I mostly needed that just because all hail Technoblade Nova. Um, I just needed that because I was doing a bit of a clue hunt with a friend, and this is where I tried to lead him. So it's the area's pretty plain and simple, nothing all that special. This is just some contemporary art that we built and never removed, and I won't remove it right now. A bank. This is a bank. Also mostly built by my friend, so I didn't do much on that one. I think on the inside I gave some ideas, but nothing major. I do like how it turned out. I think it's surprisingly empty for considering it basically had Nova again. I'm sorry if this isn't your kind of stream, but we're not that random over here. And I specifically dislike that party and the mention of them. Um, Considering it has a building inside of it, basically, which this count area would be, it's you know very empty. We did try and start building a vault area. If you if your goal is just to piss me off, then please don't do it on stream, or I will block you. The vault area is underneath. We didn't get very far with it, I will have to say. Um, God, it's dark. We basically tried working on it, but we wanted to make a redstone mechanism to open and close it like a proper vault, and we just never started on it. Laziness is very much a thing, especially with very big projects. Uh, that nice building over here, which is supposed to be like a residence for the rich, was also a project by my friend. The inside is designed, and I know he put a lot of thought into it, especially in the details. You have basically the lobby area. You have the stables. You have a big inner yard. There's an upper area, lower area. You know, lot of things. A small market area where we actually built it together. I think I started, and then my friend added some because I wanted more market stalls. Basically, it's right next to the uh, what's the word? the area where you keep stuff, where you keep them until you can sell them, or where you just import export stuff, stuff like that. Um, there are a lot of very nice buildings over here that my friend built, and I wanted to join in. And the city of Kuslik still needed the famous three mage academies. So I tried doing that, and I was struggling a lot. And I know my friend was very worried when I told him, "Hey, I want to put this big dorm building right next to your academy." And he was worried I would, well, not academy, right next to your temple. And he was worried I would cover it up. But in the end, I do very much remember he was quite happy how it turned out. That I even spared this area, so the window still overlooks, and I even managed to link up the colors quite nicely, so it doesn't even really feel like it's a separate building, but they blend together quite well. And the interesting part about the dorms is you can only enter the actual dorms via those bridges that link up to the academies. But there is in the lower area these shops. Um, and when I first started with, like, okay, I want to have shops specifically for mages or for people that collect knowledge, uh, I had this idea of basically putting it on the lower, like a subterranean level, simply because of the way I built the dorms. So I tried, and I wasn't quite sure at first, but by now I can firmly say I'm happy how it turned out. Bookshop with small corners where you can read books. I'm very happy how it turned out, and I think it makes a great addition to the city to make it feel more like a city, because it ends to the crowding. Well, if it flutters, you're fucked. Also, we have a little cat hiding in a corner. The sea is over there. We're on raised land. I think we're pretty safe from being flooded. And if there's like a big wave that floods the whole city, well, then it's gonna be flooded either way. The academies I mostly did from the outside, and if you're not too familiar with the Dark Eye, you wouldn't be able to understand when I tell you, okay, this one is that one and stuff and things. So I'll spare you guys. From the outside, the most interesting one I pretty much think is the smallest one. From the inside, it's also the most boring one because I didn't even put the floors in. The quite interesting thing about the academies is that they have like the whole area. I dug out. Wait, let me show you from the outside. I dug out the whole area that is covered by the academy buildings. Everything you can see covered in stone or building. Because we built I like the day night cycle. I know it's a bit iffy when people are watching, but I personally enjoy it. I also enjoy the rain and stuff like that, so so everything you can see covered in stone or a building in this general area of the academies, I hollowed out underneath, and built a basement area that links them all up. And I did make a point out of, why is that here? I did make a point out of trying to design it in a creepy way and in a labyrinthine way. I used only very small light sources. Um, I made it very confusing to get around. Very many empty or nowhere leading paths. Obviously, I know how to go and where to go, but if you go down here the first time, I think it's confusing. So this is the area that leads up to sorta. It was inspired by Harry Potter, at least on my end. Not in the official way, I think, or at least not majorly. This one leads up to the smallest academy, which also has like the smallest basement. I don't remember what I actually wanted to do here. And then over here we have the central area, which is basically supposed to be like um this was a plaza for an older version of the city that just sunk beneath and was built above on. And I'm not sure if it makes sense the way I build it, but visually I'm happy with it. And now we're underneath the other building. Um, and it is just as labyrinthine. And I even built like guards. Well, they're supposed to be guards at least. I think I started putting down a rough overview of where I want to put classrooms and stuff like that, but never got anywhere. I don't like or I don't enjoy doing interior at all. I prefer doing exterior much, much more. Especially like those details, like the students over here. Well, one student showing off a little magic trick to the kids around. And putting down Easter eggs, basically. Easter eggs of characters that my friends play or characters that my friends have met in their campaigns. This is a tavern. In the canon there is a tavern that the mage students like to visit, so I wanted to put one down. This is the one it ended up being. Ah, I put a fake subterranean. I Considering I had very limited space to work with, I'm quite happy how it turned out. Um, yeah, it as you can see, this building links into the walls. Oh yeah, look, this is also a reference to a campaign, or well, to an adventure that a friend played with me, where the wall of the city got attacked and blown out. Interestingly enough, it got blown out from the inside, so that's why the pillar fell forward. Like the explosion was somewhere here, and I tried referencing that with how there's less damage here, there's more damage here. Like if you were trying to design or to put a sort of a like circle that represents the or a ball. I think a ball would be more appropriate. That represents the explosion area. It would probably be somewhere here-ish. At least that's how I tried to design it. Walls of that size have to be hollow because else you couldn't build them. It also makes much more sense because this way you can walk inside the wall and surprise people. It's a quick link between parts of the city, and especially in regards to explosions, which are a bigger danger in this world because of magic. A hollow wall does a way better job at holding explosions off than a filled wall. Because if a filled wall gets an explosion right here, it will definitely take damage. and it might fall inward, just taking the next wall down with it. But if it's hollow, there isn't that much mass if it falls over or if it loses parts. So the inner wall will just keep it. That's the reason why well, you don't see a lot of military walls of that size in reality. But if you do, you would notice, yes, they're hollow. I will freely admit the bigger plot hole is, why is this wall built out of sandstone? Sandstone is not a good material for walls. And my answer is, stop asking. I beg you. I don't know. It was a decision I made, and visually I like it, but obviously it doesn't make sense. So this is the training grounds for mercenaries. Um, Again, I didn't care much about the insides. I think the training area outside is pretty cool. You have like training dummies over here. You have like a shooting area and a small area where you can actually, um, you know, train, fight, stuff like that. I even put down some arrows and a bow if you actually want to take shots at those. No idea why you would, but hey, I left the option. So this is one of the official ways to get in and out of the wall. This is a temple that a friend of mine built. I think he wanted to join into my project, which is this part of town or city. This is actually a city. And he built this very beautiful temple that I do truly enjoy for the goddess of home and mercy. With this down here being the area where you feed the poor, and this being the actual nope, this being a tavern. Sorry. And I think the prey area is actually upstairs. For this part of town, the first thing that I basically built was this, which is the Academy of Fine Arts. I quizzed myself a lot trying to think how I can build this, how it can make it look like an academy, how it can make it look like a fancy old building. It wasn't that easy, and in the end I came up with this pillar walkway, which I personally love pillar walkways, and it reminded me a bit of like maybe the old Greek style. And you have this inner yard where you have like a a tree with falling leaves where you can recite poems underneath, or this little water place where you can dance and sing. I was just trying to be creative there. A little shrine for a god, um, the god of freedom, of travel. And as per usual, obviously, I didn't design the classrooms up here. What I did design is the walkways mostly with, art and artistic things, and a backstage area and an actual um what's the word, a theater room, even with darkened curtains and all that. I didn't put in the benches, which, yes, that was a flaw. I Maybe I'll do it someday. Again, inside, not my forte. The area in front of like the theater where you wait and stuff like that. Like s- enjoy talks and the little balcony overlooking the wall, which is, I like the choice. You have more to see this way. This is basically the poor people living area that I built with a couple of buildings that are just supposed to be shabby, and actually even three ways you can cross through the area. The upper route, the middle route, which is basically kind of the nicest, and the very dark alleyway on the side. Very dark, very shabby. I'm very proud how the vibe of this area turned out. So yeah. And it is night, and I don't want to use a command right now, even though it would be way quicker. But I have a little sleeping area down here set up. There we go. And there's a lot more to see. But I'm gonna be quite honest. I'm not planning to go over the 2 hour mark today, at least not by much. And I want to do some actual work and show you what I'm planning to work on within the next few times. So let's actually get there. Yeah. Whee. Zoop. Oh yeah. This is actually the smaller map. I'll actually show you the bigger map if I remember how to get there. This is the bigger map, and this is what we will be working on for a while. And you've seen Kuslik. We've walked through the whole of Kuslik. This is that. This is the project we'll be working on for a while. Yes, it's work. It's big work. But hey, work is good. It's easy. Currently, it's easiest to get there via the Nether. So we'll do just that. Ta-da! As you, okay, ignore the flies. Well, bees, lamp, lamp lighters. You know. But yes, this is the project. As you can see, there is still a lot to do. I started the roof on that side this half is, at least from the outside, quite well done. This half very much isn't. This will also like it's the palace for the empress, and yeah, lots of work to do. And I think the thing that looks like a place where a murder mystery would happen, hopefully not. And it's a lot of mirroring details. So that's why I put it off so far, because I don't like mirroring. I don't like repetitive work. But I want to finish this building, so that is something we will start working on. I think I'll actually start with the outer wall of this. So it starts from the middle of the third pillar from the side wall. Middle, okay, the outer wall of that side wall actually connects to the outside of the pillar, and the middle of the pillar is just the last of the polished deep slate. That will help me a lot, actually. Um, I did have some player side mods installed already, but even though I at least was the administrator of the server, um, somebody updated the server without asking me. And that means some of the player side mods don't work anymore. Some of the server side data packs might also not work anymore, which is something I have to check out. But to be fair, I wanted to get going on the server like yesterday already, but I had an old password, so I had to ask my friend, "Hey, did the password change? Tell me stuff, things, lift the mystery." Okay, it's 3 wide. Wait, it's 3 wide. Does it connect? Oh yeah, it connects to the outside. So I had to have them send me the password, and when they finally did, um, don't get me wrong, they sent it to me timely. It's just that by the time that I did, that's the wrong stone. By the time I received it, I was bound up in some other business. So I had to just, do it today, basically. And I only went to the computer like 15 minutes before I started streaming, so I didn't have time to do it beforehand. And even if I did have, I don't think I would have, because like I mentioned earlier, I'm a bit lazy today. So, funny note, there is currently a snow wall running over the northern part of Germany, which has a couple of people very freaked out. Meanwhile, I live in an area where we usually get more snow, or at least we did in the past. And, well, the last pieces of snow melted this morning. So, I don't have snow, and other people have so much snow they can barely go outside. I'm a bit upset about that, I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, climate change is becoming a real bother over here. Oh, you're actually only 2 thick, and the outer wall connects to the end point of the inner wall. Okay. So, not you. My phone keeps making blop. Okay, nothing important. Just some notifications. You are 3 thick with that actually connecting. Okay. There we go. No, didn't I have a bit of bed set up somewhere around here? Oh yeah, in front. Whoop, 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 whoop. Give me a second. Yeah, just give me a moment. Here, have some ads. Hey, hey. Alright. Where were we? Come on, Streamlabs. There's the game. Thank you. And thank you for wanting to give Bin a shout out. I appreciate the effort. My answer was a bit offhandish because I was handling a different situation. In general, I don't see the use in giving a shout out when there is nobody around that doesn't already follow Bin. And that's how I will always keep it, because I don't wish to use anything just because, well, you should use it. I want to use it because it's either effective or I feel the want to use it. Yeah. That aside, I talked to Bin about some stuff yesterday, and I think shoutouts are not quite within the range of what he wants. Does it end in the middle? It does end in the middle, okay. Outer walls are each 2 thick, then 3, 3, 3. Two, three, 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 three. Okay, you're all... Two. But there wasn't even room for 3. It's too thick. Just a second. Alright. Wait, I should try and see the chat. There. I still need to figure out what's for dinner today. Haven't had even the slightest thought about that yet. There is no Mongolian grill around here, and even if there was, I don't like, personally, going to a restaurant when I'm alone. And I don't have a friend I could ask currently, at least not close by. Well, the thing is, this wall will be the backdrop to the throne, so yeah, this is just one thick. They do, but that's why I'm ending stream relatively early. I don't want... Also, gyros? Do you mean kebab? Uh... Um... that's why I'm ending so early. I want to go outside and actually get some stuff. Gyros. Do I want? I didn't. I had Indian today. Yesterday, I liked having Indian yesterday. The thing is, I don't want to order Indian again because ordering food has gotten way too expensive, and let's not talk about money right now. A specific type of, yeah, I mean, okay, this might be a cultural thing. There's doner kebab, and kebab meat is made on a gyro. There's also gyros, which is basically a sort of I wanna say Greek kebab, sortish. Like it's completely different, spiced and stuff like that. But yeah. Uh, you're referring to the Greek gyros, the gyros, or Marco, I, I will freely admit that I said, do you mean A or B? I should have expected that you're gonna say yes, but can you do me a favor and answer in I meant X? What are you doing? Are you doing that on purpose? You're streaming yourself. Do you have a better overview over your conversations as soon as, like, you're focusing on something else? Like, do you keep the conversation in the back of your mind and have a way better overview than I do? Or, like, do you. Have you not encountered that issue? I have streamer brain, acute streamer brain. Just assume I'm dumb and I have the memory of a goldfish, which, to be fair, is true. Please, when you're referencing or answering something, add as many details as you can. Please. For some reason, in English, they're spelled exactly the same, but it is how you pronounce it. So you got gyro, like gyroscopic, and then gyro, hero, hero, which is Greek. And no, it was not intentional. It's a stream delay. Okay, the stream delay does seem quite much today. I will freely admit that. I'm not quite sure why specifically today. I mean, it's always noticeable for me, but today it feels excessively excessively though. I'm You'll have to pronounce the second one for me later because hero, like hero, just with a longer e. Watching from yeah, yeah, that is fair. But a lot of people are watching from mobile when they're using Twitch, so you know that's not really an excuse. I know if I get higher in like Twitch's ranking of me, that that pronunciation confuses me. I know if I get higher in Twitch's ranking of how much they trust me, then there will be less stream delay because they have left less of an eye of what I'm broadcasting. But that is, I'm not quite sure that's actually true. It's just what people have told me in the past. There is at least a difference between before you make affiliate and once you become affiliate. What do I do with this back wall? Because the issue is I want to put the throne down about in the middle, which would be here. So I guess the middle pillar definitely would be blocked. Um, I mean, so would probably be the side ones. Cool. Okay, well, the Empress would sit the highest, so let's argue she would sit there. There was a whole ad that made fun of the similarities. The heroic heroes who deliver heroes. Wait a... Okay, I mean, you know that I'm fascinated by languages, so when I say that that doesn't come as a surprise, I hope. Where does that pronunciation of gyros come from? Because don't get me wrong, the German pronunciation is not the same as the Greek one, but it is similar as far as I know. And pronouncing it with an H just seems odd, especially considering gyros is it is called that because it is made on a gyroscope. No idea. Just yeah, yeah. I assumed you don't know. It's I'm just venting my thoughts. Okay, so if I make the, it's a bit very high. I didn't know that's too high. I think that height would very much suffice. So let's assume if I put the throne, which is supposed to be a reasonable throne, like I could, that, Not to be confused with the Italian executioner jockey who hits people with the power of a spinning math proofs. Let me guess, that's a JoJo reference. I'm thinking about putting a rule down that every JoJo reference will be punished by timeout. I mean, don't get me wrong, that would be tough. Get it? Tough. Because I'm building with tough bricks. But I would like it. How do you know? But yes, I will not say that name because it's from JoJo. I do not want to. I do not want to attract the JoJo crowd. I know I want growth, but not a JoJo growth. Also, did you seriously ask how did I know? It sounded crazy enough. It could only be from JoJo. No, 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 Marco. No. We will not talk about JoJo here. I appreciate it. I appreciate your attempt to bring me conversation. We will not talk about JoJo here. Talk about Star Trek Online if must be. It isn't though. We both know it isn't. Partially because I haven't had you complain about Hunter x Hunter to me just yet. What does my flippin' phone need now? Yeah, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. Never. Probably that's why I hate JoJo, because you've never complained about it. I firmly believe JoJo is a devil's sin, and that it manipulates your brain to like it, and that is the only reason why you don't complain about it. That is the primary reason why I keep my distance to it. Also, I'm dumb and in pain. Because I have to build that again now. It's supposed to be on the outer wall, not the inside wall. You should watch JJK. Not right now, though. Right now you're watching me. That's more important. I'll add it to the list. Okay. How long is that list? Asking for a friend. And you do know, see, even. But my question is how long the list is. Why would I care what you're currently. The list is long. Okay, I get that. And it's constantly growing. And I think you also watched Zero. I am aware. I recommend a rewatch before going into the Culling games. Personally. Okay, to be fair, I recommend a rewatch. Period. JJK is just worth a rewatch. I didn't even get remotely close to where I wanted to get. To be fair, there was like a, what, 10-15 minute break in the middle. So I'm currently on the docket before this is One Piece stuff sitting right after now and can stop getting sidetracked by YouTube. YouTube and Twitch. Also, I still very much believe if you were actually enjoying it, you would binge it more and not get that easily distracted. But that's just my impression, you know. So just as okay. Uh, I have no idea how to like in detail design the throne room. Like there will be I'll actually have to see how I specifically do it, but there will be at least 3 pre-rooms. You maybe shouldn't tell me your sleeper agent or sleeper soldier trigger words. You know, more so you maybe shouldn't put them out on the internet where I will inevitably upload them to YouTube. You know, uh, so so general plan. I will divide this room into 3. Because for somebody as an emperor, it was usual in the Renaissance that you would have to go through 3 rooms to meet them, or if you're at least like close to their social status, they would maybe meet you in the second room. I I don't even know what I want to do with the design of the floor just yet. I mean, I would want to I think I want to figure out the spacing of the rooms before I do floors. The issue with the room spacing is okay. Let's assume the first one is very small. It's basically just a waiting area. An emperor would never meet anybody in the first room. Nobody can be that high, except maybe their children. But even those, they would just meet under different circumstances, not in the throne room. Um, so it can be small, just a waiting area. The second room should be bigger. Um, Big enough to maybe even have like room for a table. So this would become like a warming up area, kitchen area. Then we have the second room. Then this one would be the main room, the throne room, the big fancy room, which makes it pretty square. I don't like square rooms, but I can work with square rooms. I can make it oval at least at the upper end. Am I not standing in the middle? Yeah, okay, this is the middle. So I like. Mm, mm, this is the middle, right? Yeah. This is the middle. If I take this as the middle to make the room like oval shaped. Let's see. Let's say 5 for the top. Like 5? Yeah, like 5. Then we go to 3. We do another 3. Then we do 2. 1. 2. 3. 3. 2. 1. 2. Okay. Now we pull just down from here. Well, to be fair, we don't actually pull it down from there, we pull it down from the line behind it. Because that's symmetrical. Okay, that gives us that to work with. Well, we've already gone over our 2 hour mark, so I know it's been a short stream. Don't get me wrong. Very much aware of that. But it's all we're gonna do today. Um, there will be a raid today. Because a fellow streamer and a person that a fellow streamer is having their stream anniversary, affiliate anniversary today. So please, I would very much enjoy if you could join the raid. Um, if you feel like it, please do use the raid emoji. And in general, just be nice, check them out. You know, it's a fellow German. Gotta support a fellow German. Oh yeah, they had their new thingamabonger revealed today. I completely forgot about that. I will actually have to check that thingy out myself. What is that game? Oh, Cult of the Lamb. Okay. That is actually um, a game I wanted to check out at some point as well. Anyway, please join the raid. Everybody settle in. Take your positions. Put on a smile. And I will see you sometime around next time. Stay safe, be nice, bye bye.